Hi there, welcome again, number 18, number 2 for today, going for 5, catching up. As I mentioned, I am changing wardrobes and situations just because I'm having too much fun with it, and I wouldn't want to be all dressed up in the same way for the whole day. Who would want that? So number 18, still camping, obviously not camping anymore. I've written the scripts, but we're now filming them. And it's been a while for camping, and it was the reflection of that day was it has been a while, and there were reasons why I had stopped camping. I had issues with it, and basically I used to be a camper. I used to love camping, and I think something changed when I had my family. You know, when you add a young child, it can create different tensions. We also, in the past 5 years, have included the in-laws and the uncles, and we let. It's been a different kind of camping. It's like camping with a family that wasn't yours, and all sorts of triggers were happening. We were also camping with some friends. It was party time, so there's an excessive amount of partying, and it wasn't good for energy. It was the complete opposite. So I had built a couple issues around camping for the last couple of years, and I thought that if we isolated back to original, we went back to family unit, 3 people, a tent. I could probably focus and energize and visualize myself camping for 3 days and actually have a good time. That's what I did. So the thought of the day on that, you can always revisit situations that used to make you tick and just get you going, and you couldn't focus or decide correctly because you were too emotional about these situations. You can revisit them with a new plan. With the changes you have accumulated, these situations can become different and can be used for different things. Okay, so this was this was a time where I could practice what I've learned and what I'm teaching you. Right, it's time to, once you reinsert life with your new patterns or your new behavior, the results aren't going the same way. Right. My camping days were completely different than my old ones. So you have to practice the stuff you learn, and these are perfect times. So practice your new strategies, apply them. You can enjoy situations that used to destabilize you completely. And keep your calm, keep your reality, keep stable, keep reminding yourself what you're doing and why you're doing it. Alright, reflections on my SFM journey. We need balance in all areas of life to create that flow, that sense of everything is going well and I have a control on everything. There's nothing running out of place. Very important. And I realized, I knew this, but I emotionally realized it over this weekend. Is that family is very powerful. I used to think that maybe family is not that useful or is not that important. But there was a bond there that I didn't know I could get with a daughter and a wife as a unit, with my new techniques. Everything was fantastic, right? I did not know that family could be that powerful, and there was a stress that wasn't there anymore. It was like I accepted being there as what I wanted to do, and the stress lifted. Very, very cool. There used to be stress all the time with camping. I remember I used to say it was a negative, everything was wrong, life sucked bad. So imagine camping in that situation versus having a plan, going in at it with a focus and vision and a purpose, right? So it's like something like, now I choose to be here and enjoy my family. And when you can choose to do what you're doing, you accept it, and life seems to just flow. You're not struggling with life when you accept what you're doing with your time. What I learned from yesterday. Playing with my daughter can be very fulfilling. Right? Continuing with the logic. I realized that I'm her major mentor. I'm her major influence. So is mother. But there's no but. We're both her major mentors and influence. But it's the realization that I don't have to let other people handle her. I can also do it, And I can get fulfilled out of doing basic little things, showing her stuff. Yeah, the cave we talked about yesterday. Visiting a cave. I'm a geography teacher, so visiting a cave is one of the greatest things I can do. And teaching her about, hiking, holding on to the walls of the cave. What are these things we're seeing? There's light holes, and there's all the teachings that I can give her became clear to me, and that's who I want to be. She's like, that's my legacy. She'll be here around me, as I said before, and it's my responsibility to prepare her for this world, and I want her compatible with me, right? If I'm not raising her, showing the things that I like doing, the ways I like thinking of stuff, then I'll be stuck I'll be old, and she'll be someone else, and she'll have nothing to do with me, which is something that scares me a lot. So take the time. You are their mentors, and you are their future. Take the time and appreciate it. It actually felt really, really cool to see her eyes and smiles when she learned and spent time with me doing just basic stuff that we enjoy doing. Right? Who do we want her to resemble? I want her to resemble me, her mom. I want her to be a functional human being, so that's with me, and stay compatible. Okay? Gratitude for today. Patience. Something I didn't always have. Something that I have now, but it's still very, very hard to maintain, right? Your old triggers, your old past, your old emotions want to lash out instead of calming down and being patient. You need to consciously exercise patience. And when you can do that, and you can do it on a long term, do it for a day, where every time you get that, oh, I wish I wasn't here, I wish I wasn't dealing with this, or I wish she would be something else, or can you just leave me alone? Get into that moment and hold it. And try to say, listen, you got control over this. Tomorrow you can be impatient. Today you're like this. Everything wants you to explode, but right now that's not going to help you, help the other person. It won't move you forward, and it won't bring you where you want. And it's kind of hard. Sometimes you're like, screw it. You consciously decide, nope, I'm going to be impatient right now. I don't care. This is worth it. But then you would be wrong. The patience would still be the right choice. Please hang on and try to use that for 16 hours in a day. Never get upset. Pretty powerful stuff, interesting stuff. In that moment where you're going to lose it, you can stop and think about the results. If I calm down right now, what will the result be of that situation? And if I go to my old pattern and say, well, I told you you had no time and we should have been, and you can get into that strain of negative flow, but you can stay in there for hours with your daughter and your wife. Instead of snapping it, listening, and trying to see the end result that you really want. Okay? All right. Patience. A little thing that would help. Breathe 5 times. Before you say anything, breathe. That's a simple one. It's not even a tool of the day. Just breathe. And if you can, get the other to breathe. That's my tool of the day for later. Get the other person to breathe, which is kind of weird, except they can do it. You can get them into that. I've tried it. And try to get out of the situation after using your patience. Try to get out of the situation as much as you can learn from it. As much as possible. There's always learning out of a situation. Especially if you got to control your emotions. If you got to control them, you can remember that. And if you lost them, well, remember that too. Right? Whatever happens in that situation, the end result should be the lesson. You should learn from it. Do it again or stop it more. It's up to you. Plans for today, camping with the family, of course. We're on day number 2. We're going to swim. We're going to do some hiking, some eating, some laughing, some campfires. Anything is possible. And we're going to sleep, some s'mores. Everyone is very happy. And I'm staying in that happy focus place right now. Tool of the day. All right, breathing. But not for me. Breathing. Get the other person to breathe. when the other person is triggering you, they're also triggered. They have these emotions. Stuff is happening inside of them, and they're bouncing, right? And that little bouncy stuff can get on you and say, "Oh, I'm upset too. I'm bouncing too," or say, "Whoa, nope, there's a limit." So when you see someone panicking, so here's the story. My daughter yesterday, we were hiking to the cave, as I mentioned. For most case, it went well. But there were heavy patches of mosquitoes and big horseflies and like bad stuff, taking chunks off of us. So at one point, her panic was more intense. She had sore legs. She had been walking for about 3 miles up in the mountain. So she had sore legs. She was getting exhausted. It was 35 degrees, 30 degrees outside Celsius, which is about 95 to 100 Fahrenheit. Things were going bad, so she was losing control of her emotions in her body, and she was starting to cry and limp, and everything that can come out of a 6-year-old. So at that point, I was getting ready to say, "Listen, we just gotta go. There's nothing we can do. You can cry all you want," and I was gonna be that guy, which I didn't want to be. So I decided to say, "Listen, for me not to go into that place, I needed to breathe." So I started breathing, and then I looked at her and I said, "Well, I think she needs to breathe too." So we paused without stopping to walk because the mosquitoes are bad. We paused kind of walking, and I said, "Listen, just breathe." So I put my hand on her upper chest here and her back. And we kept walking, and we were both breathing together, and that stopped the calming it stopped the insanity. It could bring her back to base level, to a reasonable functional level, out of her emotions and her reactions. And at that point, it was time to talk, to calm her down, and to talk about the situation. And not see it in a panic, but seeing it as, we are here. We have about 2 kilometers left, which is almost about a mile, a little less than a mile. And you're the one that's going to have to get out of this situation. You're the human. We're in it. Mom's handling. We're walking. We have to handle this. So I put her on my back also, after the breathing. She got a little... So it changed the situation. And then she was able to focus and breathe. It was pretty cool. She handled the situation. She got her 6-year-old mind focused on the objective, was to get out of this forest as fast as possible. And, when you breathe and get the other person to breathe, you share that moment. You share that calming down. And then you can say, "Ooh," you can just talk to the other person, instead of creating that reactive state where rah, 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 and one's just screaming at the other, and no one is seeing the actual situation, the reality of the situation, which we needed to get out of that forest. Okay, so crying and limping and rolling around, getting eaten by mosquitoes was not the appropriate reaction. So we got down to it with a 6-year-old. It was pretty cool. So the basic thing was, once you get to breathe, you open up your system to see stuff and react different ways. So once we were calm, all our senses could react. So we knew our touch was, get the hell out. The mosquitoes are eating. Our bodies can still work. Visuals were, the trail is there. We gotta go. We can hear stuff. So our senses picked up what we needed to know to get out. All right. So get the other person to breathe. Good tool. Have some patience and balance in life. Get everything you like done. Make sure that's the time you want. And what you want to do with your time, that's what you need to do. And go back to those situations with your new tools. Try things. Try to get back into life. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm going to say that twice because I forgot in the other one right before. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Have a good day. We'll see you in video number 19 very shortly. Bye.